Shifting our attention over to international stories, Hong Kong has descended into violent chaos. Protesters have blocked lawmakers from reaching their workplace, the Hong Kong government headquarters. Now, this on a day when they were set to debate the controversial extradition bill in the city's legislature, lawmakers could not reach the parliament and hence could not vote on the bill. Protesters had barricaded the gates of the Legislative Council building. Initially, the protests in Hong Kong weren't violent, but now there has been a marked escalation of tensions. An online petition had called for 50,000 people to gather from 10 p.m. on Tuesday night local time. Tens of thousands of them had gathered peacefully outside the city's legislature before tempers flared and clashes erupted between the police and the demonstrators. With some of them charging at the police with umbrellas, it was a throwback to the last time that Hong Kong saw such massive protests, the Umbrella Revolution of 2014. Police used pepper spray, tear gas pellets and batons to force crowds back. The debate on the legislation was eventually postponed. But by that time, protesters had blocked two main highways in central Hong Kong. A top Hong Kong government official warned citizens to get off the roads and not defy the law.
Hong Kong government calls on people who are blocking roads to leave the road and go back to the pavement as soon as possible, so that traffic can return to normal as soon as possible. I would also like to ask the people in this gathering to stay calm and leave the scene as soon as possible and not to commit any crime.
But that did little to contain the protests. Many local businesses shut shops in a sign of solidarity with the protesters. They also joined the strikes. And Hong Kong's major student unions boycotted classes to attend the rallies, and they were supported by thousands of parents and teachers who also called for a boycott of work and classes to show their opposition to the proposed bill. Groups that normally abstain from the city's frequent marches and rallies chose to take part this time. But business associations, housewives, lawyer groups, church leaders and even horse racing columnists, they all vocally opposed the bill. That's because they fear that China is slowly taking away Hong Kong's much-cherished autonomy. And this new law is the proverbial last straw on the camel's back. The extradition bill will allow suspects in Hong Kong to be sent to mainland China for trial, where the conviction rate is 98% higher. Hong Kong's government says the legislative change will prevent the island from becoming a safe haven for criminals and plug loopholes in the island's judicial system. But the fear is that it will be used to stifle dissent and also legitimize Beijing's extrajudicial detention of dissidents. The bill has provoked international condemnation. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a statement against what she called a horrific extradition bill. She said that if the law is passed, then U.S. Congress would have to reassess whether Hong Kong has sufficient autonomy. Chinese media did not report on the protests on Wednesday, and mentions of the protests were scrubbed clean from Chinese social media platforms, even as the Chinese government reiterated its firm support for the extradition bill.
China's central government resolutely supports the Hong Kong SAR government in advancing the amendment to the two ordinances. What I can tell you is that any act that undermines Hong Kong's prosperity and stability is opposed by mainstream public opinion in Hong Kong. We have repeatedly stated that Hong Kong affairs are purely China's internal affairs. No other country, organization or individual has the right to interfere.
Now, this is the second round of mass protests in Hong Kong. An estimated 1 million people have protested against the law since Sunday. It's Hong Kong's biggest political demonstration since its handover to China by Britain in 1997. That was done under a one-country, two-systems deal which guaranteed Hong Kong's special autonomy, including freedom of assembly, free press and an independent judiciary. Now, the new extradition bill has the potential to take away all of it. A final vote on the bill is now expected on 20th of June this year. But the protests are not set to abate, because if the bill succeeds in coming up for a vote, then its passage is all but certain, because the Hong Kong legislature is said to be dominated by loyalists of Beijing. Demonstrators have vowed to stay together for a prolonged stakeout. They have pledged to occupy the government complex until the extradition bill is retracted. And with that, it's a wrap of this newscast. Thank you so much for watching. Up next is WION Speed for the latest from across the globe. Stay tuned to World is One.
The 19th Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit is all set to begin here in Kyrgyz capital Bishkek from 13th to 14th. Focus will be on many global and regional issues such as trade, connectivity and counter-terror. Follow me, Sudhan Sibbal, for all the latest and live updates from Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. Only on WION.